have a ton of time, so I don't want to waste any more of it. Kevin, the stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Appreciate the facilitation over the course of the afternoon. We are batting cleanup, Adam and I, and I'm super excited to have him as a guest. When we look at all the different topics that have been covered today, Adam and I are going to focus on, and we're in particular going to focus in on Adam's point of view on the future of TV, which is the overall topic. So Adam, I know you probably need no introduction, but why don't we start with, I will also add that I've known Adam for a couple of decades now.
Way too long.
I know. But one thing that I know we will get is the straight answer and the truth today. So that's a great way to wrap the session. So Adam, quick intro and purview and core areas of focus today for you.
Sure. I'm running global investment for Essence, which is one of Group M's 4 global media networks. Our clients globally are Google on the digital side, Airbnb full service. We have clients that span from British Telecom in EMEA to Target and NBC Universal here in domestically, and clients like Flipkart in India and APAC. So have a pretty wide purview on the types of clients and different categories that are investing, not only here in the US, but across the world.
Awesome. Thank you. I also think it's worth noting that, again, not to date ourselves, but both Adam and I spent over a decade in the digital business. And I know Adam started on the planning side. I started on the linear television side. So we both have an interesting sort of cycle that we've seen where we started television and then participated in the early days of digital, and now Adam's role is obviously broader, but in my role overseeing Dish Media back in television, and I think it's such an interesting time now because we are truly seeing the intersection of linear TV and digital video, or digital, however you want to call it, but it is all coming together, albeit not perfectly, but moving in the right direction. So, Adam, I know we discussed earlier the topics that we had today. Lots of interesting ones, ranging from addressable television, addressable enablement of programmers, identity, reach incrementality, and the list goes on. But before we talk specific topics, I'd love to get your take on what the macro trends are in the television space that you're seeing today, and that you've seen sort of shaping and staying with us over the next 2 to 3 years.
Sure. Look, at the highest level, and not to freak anyone out, and I apologize because I wasn't able to spend the whole day listening to the panels. So I'm hoping a lot of these topics were already covered, and that everyone was in agreement to the fact that, look, the macro trends are people are gravitating to non-ad supported platforms. They are increasingly defining what a quote unquote TV viewing experience is very differently than what we've historically defined it as. It's not just a 30 or 60-minute show. The application of data into the business is, and the activation process, how we execute, is increasingly one of the more important things that we can do. I think, Dan, I did catch the last tail end of the last panel, and I'm a fan of Dan, and I think his quote, "The worst thing this industry ever did was invent average frequency as a metric in the TV side," is absolutely appropriate. If you look at average frequency in relation to an actual frequency distribution chart of a TV campaign, it's like turning the light on and realizing that you're in a really scary place.
Well, we don't want to be in a scary place, but I think one of the main reasons behind today's sessions was really to educate and enlighten all the different topics that we collectively need to solve for, and collectively is across supply side, demand side, measurement, data, et cetera. Tell us from your point of view, Adam, where you sit, like what's happening with the different players within television, and we've had this conversation before, but and again, I think it's super valuable for the audience to hear around. You care less about how the consumer is viewing and more about how you can reach them. Tell us about sort of how these what were sort of I would say specifically defined silos of TV consumption are now forced to connect, and what does that mean?
I mean, look, I think it's the biggest thing confronting the industry over the short term, over the next 6 to 12 months, because it's going to inform and essentially define how our infrastructure is built, how our measurement tools are evolved, and how on the buy side we approach the marketplace. And kind of the theme that I'm talking about here is, if we keep talking about things in separate silos, linear TV, addressable MVPD, digital video, connected TV and OTT, we're going to fail. We will fail if we keep everything defined in channels like that, because that's not how people watch. People go home and decide to watch a show. How it gets to them is irrelevant, or they choose to engage with video content. And we need to have an environment. We need an infrastructure environment. We need a measurement capability, and we need planning tools and implementation tools that allow us to stitch all of those different video experiences together holistically, so that advertisers can plan and buy in an effective way. And quite honestly, so that sellers can make their experiences better. They need to, if we can help through a better model, sellers and programmers reduce the ad load in their inventory, that's good for the end user. Now, notice I didn't say anything about price, because we need to rethink the pricing model as part of that and move from pricing to value.
Yep. I think that is that is part and parcel of a shift like that. What you kind of touched on it, but could you expand a little bit further on what you think the TV buying world looks like in that in an era where it doesn't matter if it's linear or CTV or digital. It's just how you can put your message, the right message, in front of the right audience. Tell us what you think the TV buying model looks like there.
I mean, I think it has to become much more fluid. It has to become driven much more by kind of near real-time insights into what audiences have been exposed and haven't been exposed, and where they're consuming content. And I think that's one of the biggest underlying challenges that we have. We're literally sitting in the upfront week right now, where billions of dollars get committed to very specific silos of inventory or programmers, and that locks people into how their inventory falls through the year. And I get that there needs to be some clear visibility on the sell side into kind of what inventory has been purchased and what inventory hasn't been purchased. But we're still operating in a very old traditional model that doesn't allow us to take advantage of the capabilities that exist in an impression-based world, which are data-driven, real-time decisioned, et cetera. And in that world, the world that I see in the future, there'll be a lot more decisioning from the buy side, or decisioning in the middle around campaign activity, so that campaigns are optimized to deliver the highest level of reach and the lowest frequency against heavy viewers. And, God forbid we ever talk about business results as a metric, but those are all things that I think are coming, and they have to come if ad-supported video wants to continue to be healthy.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of things that we could unpack and go deeper on, but we'll save that for another day. Switching gears a little bit, our opening panel today was on programmatic technology, and one of the things that you just mentioned was decisioning. And is it supply side? Is it demand side? Is it in the middle? Both sides have, I think both sides have valid points for decisioning to take place where, whether again, supply or demand. when we look at programmatic technology, and I would define it as any level of automation or any use of technology that automates one of the three stages of media planning, buying, or reporting / measurement. What's your take on where programmatic goes with television, and where it is today, and where you think it goes?
It's a loaded question to end with. I think of the TV kind of landscape today kind of on three layers, right? I think that there's a unit-based world that is kind of static and I can't affect it, right? Then there's this middle layer, which is addressable within the traditional linear environment. And that actually happens on two levels. It happens through, the initial trials that have been announced over the last 12 months by the national networks to do national addressable overlays into portions of their distribution where they have the ability to do that. And then you have the third layer, which is kind of, or the third level, which is kind of true digital environments that are impression-based, data informed. All three of those things have to be brought together. And programmatic, as I define it, I define it very specifically. Programmatic to me is where the buy side can make the decision based on an informed view of the overall campaign. If I'm not able to do that from my side, it's not really programmatic to me.
Okay, so that's another question on programmatic guarantee for another
It's
day.
automated. I mean, it's automated. I mean, anything other than that is just automation of an existing model.
Yep.
Programmatic to me, I look at everything from a campaign perspective. If I can't decision at a campaign level, there's not much value to move on to platforms.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Programmatic guarantee is automation of the IO process. I'll give you that. Okay, on the last question, because I know you have a hard stop. Upfront, we're wrapping up Upfront week. Is this year going to be back to the future, or are the lessons that the market learned last year going to be applied going forward? That is a loaded question.
What lessons did we learn last year? I don't think
flexibility, some things.
We took very small steps towards a better model. But the reality is, the Upfront still was the Upfront last year. It just moved at a snail's pace. I think that, for good reason, everyone had a lot of uncertainty last year. I'm surprised at how resilient the marketplace was and how well everyone came through it. I think both the sell side and the buy side partnered together to make the best out of a very difficult situation. But I think, moving forward, we are now back to reality, which is a reality of supply and demand. And the reality is that linear ratings are eroding. Advertiser, the economy is going to grow at 6%. In the back half of the year, we're expecting there will be, demand in the marketplace for linear TV. And I'm hopeful that the marketplace on the buy side starts to recognize that we need to find alternative supply and to diversify how we invest against, especially those under 50 who are not consuming traditional linear TV the way that they used to.
Adam, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Always good to have your insights. So thanks again. David, before I hand it back over to you, just thanks again to brand Innovators for framing this up for us. And one message I'd like to leave is we tried not to focus today on dish media and what we're doing, but more about the issues in advanced television and trying to give everybody the real view as to what's happening and why we care about it so much. So thanks to everybody from Dish and all the guests that joined us. So cheers.
Thank you, Adam. For sharing with us. I know that was a quick one, but super insightful. We got to have you back, I think, for a more robust conversation and diving into some of these topics you touched on. And Kevin, to your point, it's been our pleasure, working with you guys at Dish and bringing this to life. It is a fascinating space for all the, the innovation on the content side and the streaming side that the viewers see in their home. And we know that it's all happening on the business side too, and on the technology side too, to kind of evolve this category. So I'm glad that we could spend this day diving into some of these big topics. Like we said, there's so much more that we can go into. So I'm sure there's a part two that we could already plan, but this was great. Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everybody out there in YouTube land and Zoom land for tuning in and sticking with us. And we hope to see you back tomorrow. We have an international live cast in our Influencer Marketing Summit. So we'll see you guys there, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Ken. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Kevin. Take care.
Yep.
Bye, David.
Take care, everyone. This was a fantastic program. Again, I hope a lot of you tune in, join us tomorrow for our international live cast at 8 a.m. Eastern, and our Influencer Marketing Summit kicking off at noon Eastern. So we'll see you then, and we'll see you there. And with that, enjoy the rest of your day.